What's going on, everybody? It's Bvrzz from the Lit Lords. We're back today with a highly requested walkthrough. This time, Holy Moly, Carnage Terror Bass, Milano and the Lords remix. Let's do it.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
So, this remix kind of, in a lot of the comment section, I would see, comments you guys would be talking about, do a walkthrough of a remix that you did not specifically have the stems to. This is where you take the original record, throw it into your DAW as it is, start chopping it up and create something completely new. Basically, in other terms, a derivative work of the original master. And this is what we did here with Holy Moly. Let's get into it.
Name, then you know it's lit. Oh no! Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates. All the hell I raise, it's inevitable that hell awaits. Two phones, devil on both. This ain't no Kevin Gates. Last supper, serving that devil's cake. Get a plate, I bring it right to your door. I bet it resonate, detonate, clear out the room. I'm trying to renovate in the spot, giving out work. Look how I delegate. Fuck a rest in peace, I make you rest in hate. Holy, holy moly, holy, holy moly.
So that's how we kind of did that there. That's what it sounds like.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
So if we go ahead and solo, let's go ahead and solo all our groups here and get an overview of the beat. So here we go. Here the drum section soloed. Open this up here. Got some cashmere hits here. Just very simple hip hop kind of rhythm beat here. It's a cashmere hit. We've got a crane object. Oh, this is crane, which is just a really cool hit here. Then we've got a cashmere stadium hit, which is actually kind of low. So really, it's just very subtle detailing there, and that's pretty much it. Our whole drum section is really simple, actually. And then you've got a kick that plays over this kick here. This little simple ducko kick. So it does that and it plays, and all together you're gonna get this. Ba, ba, ba. Really simple. Then when we go into the beat here, just the drums only, we get this. Yeah. Woo! And then it goes back for the build up here, which is the build up in the chorus that we did for Holy Moly, the Holy Moly. We just brought it back to the original hip hop kind of just kind of beat here. Just very simple here. So now we've got our hi-hats in here. If we actually kind of open this up, let this kind of come through. Come on, computer. Sheesh. All right, so here we go. Open this up here. We've got our kicks, snares, kick, snare, hi-hat pattern here. And these are actually just slightly off. See, we've got that same kind of groove, the drunken hits going on here.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
Well, the 808s actually start coming in right here. Got a couple of 808 samples. This is what they sound like here. Yeah. Woo, 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 woo. So now when you bring in the kicks in the drums, it comes like this. And on these 808s, this is the 808s. If I turn everything off that I did to them here, everything off that's been done, this is the 808. This is what it sounds like. Very low, not much stuff going on. Now when we put these things back on here, the 808 gets real fat, see? Very nice. And the key of the track here that we're working in is F, and then it rolls down to D when it goes in parts of the drop. It's F to D.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
Now with the actual stems of the track here, we open up the Holy sample. So here is the Holy sample. I took this straight from the track, like literally. I probably ripped the song off YouTube and put it into this. Didn't even do anything to it. So this whole channel here is just basically an untouched, pure version of the original work. So it sounds like this. This is just the intro. And this is where, we had Milano kind of come in, take a listen.
The game's not gonna take this one lightly, but do it for the culture. One take, you good? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Check the name, then you know it's lit. Oh no!
So that part kind of came in, and it was just all the normal stuff, and it had enough space in it to where, we could come in and kind of play off of each other. Milano and I could play off of each other and kind of, create this, playing in tandem sort of feeling here. Now, here is where we started getting into, messing around with some stuff here. When the beats first comes in and Milano's like, holy moly, like here. Oh, no, not this.
Then you know it's lit. Oh no! Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gate.
And holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates. When it comes in here, I took a cut, 174 hertz cut, to cut all this low end out and some of this mid range a little bit, and I'm going to bring it back with my own instruments. So this is where I'm starting to create derivative, ideas. So this is what it sounds like with this cut. Now, without that cut, with the cut. So now what we did to this is we go to our melody section here. We added in, so here's a contact freeze here, and this is, what is this? Okay, so this is actually just some horns. Some horns here that are playing like this. So this is just to bring back some of those mids. And then I'm pretty sure I added in, did I? Okay, I didn't add any choirs. They had enough of that. And then I added in a Reese bass to give it out, fill out the mids, and bring in some lows back in. So now check it out. You see that? Everything is nice and full now. There's a little flume Reese. There's the little 808, EQ going on there. Very simple. Now, the Arcade, which is a VST plugin from a company called Output, is, if you don't know what it is, don't have it yet, I suggest you get it. It's a subscription-based VST. Pay $10 a month, I believe it is, and you just get access to so many different things, like from samples to different sounds, and just it's like a creative toolbox. So definitely hop into that. So here's a freeze that I took and kind of built and put together, and then froze my finished product of my creation here, and it sounds like this. Just like a little flute kind of thing going on here. Now, when you bring in the Holy sample, when we bring in the Holy sample, we're getting this right here. Dang, there's a lot of vocal. The vocal chain is huge. So we bring in the Holy sample, we get this when they play together. Now, that's not the same as, this is a very, very changed up kind of thing going on here. This is what this sounds like. A very different Holy sample, if you ask me. So what we did, we have that same 178 hertz cut here, and I threw on a VST called Halftime. I believe this is from, who is this from? Cable Guys? Cable Guys. Very, very hip-hop-esque VST here that, has been used for a lot of hip-hop stuff. Just a Halftime VST. Look it up. It's great. It's halftime to get this to kind of play it at a slower kind of syncopation, and then I filtered out some of those highs to just kind of give it just a little kind of lo-fi-ish vibe. So check it out without the auto filter. With it, just very subtle. Off, on. Now, without that halftime, it sounds like this. You see that? It got a lot faster, and it kind of brought up those semitones as well. Now, here, we just have a very just rock with me. Rock with me. Now, when we bring that beat in there, check out the beat. Yeah. It flows a lot better, and when you're actually going to put a beat over it instead of just doing it like this. And this kind of works, but I wanted to give my own kind of taste to it. That's actually pretty hard, but to give my own kind of taste to it is where we bring in that flute, you know, because that faster syncopation doesn't work when we have that flute in there. So when we bring that flute in, we're going to get something like this. Check this out. So when this flute comes in, check it out. 1, 2, and you see that flute has a lot of high end, you know, articulation going on. So, you know, with the Holy sample being, you know, lower in those frequencies and kind of being cut off with that auto filter, this gives this space to play at the original syncopation of the track, while the Holy sample is playing at a timed out, you know, version of that. So listen to it. So if we played that Holy sample with our flute, it sounds like this. You see, it falls apart. The whole thing falls apart. It doesn't work anymore because you can't have two things playing at this at a high rate syncopation. It doesn't work. You got to kind of fit things in like a puzzle. So look, you see how you can vibe with that? You can move, and everything. You know, it's just nice. Now let's go ahead and add in the 808 section. Yeah. One tip I can give you here on the 808s is I have ghost notes. Well, I'm probably using the wrong term here, but for me, a ghost note, I know what an actual ghost note is. Hard to explain, but for me, when I say ghost note, I might be saying something else. But for me, a ghost note is when the 808 plays where there's no kick. So right here, when the 808 goes ba-da-ba, look. See that this part right here, that ba-da-ba, there's no kick playing there, and it just kind of adds to the rolling, you know, groove of the whole beat itself. Check it out. It's very dope. I've been debating whether I wanted to get into how I did the vocals, because the vocals were a very, very deliberate process. Maybe we'll touch on it. Let's touch on it, but not right now.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
Let's get through this first. Let's go back into our melody section, kind of solo. I'm gonna change this, put this to 1024 samples. All right, and we're back. So I had to change up my sample rate here so I could get this to stop fucking being retarded. But so sounds like this in the beginning. Now, when we get to our build up, our build up chorus here, this is what the melody section sounds like. Play with the drums. Build up, build it up. Yeah. Everything cuts out. Then it goes into the drop drums there. So check out just simple effects. Effects, like, you can really just throw anything you want here. It's just simple, just build up stuff, whatever. So we're not even gonna go into that. It's not even, if you guys want to know about effects, we can do something all different with that. But I will tell you, effects are a very integral part to your build up to get things, you know, sounding like, oh shit, you know, because you want to build that tension, and then drop it. You know what I'm saying?
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
Oh, that thing is nice. Hold on. Woo! Check it out. Oh man, that drop is hard. Wow. That drop is hard. Let's get into the drop here. Check out the drums. These are the drums soloed right here. Kind of different format going on than the way that I've structured other previous walkthrough tutorials, because this is a much chunkier project. As you probably can see, this is a lot more intricate, just because I had to get really technical to get this to sound as good as it did, you know, kind of moving forward from the original work. So check it out. Here's the drum pattern right here. Simple. Very hip-hoppy. We have a lot of pace synths rather than pace drums in this record here. We have a lot of pace synths, you know, things that serve to keep the beat. Sounds like the beat is so hard, and it is in its own kind of way, but the beat itself is very, very simple. The thing that makes you feel like there's so much movement are the pace synths. So before we get into that, let's keep rolling through. Here's the 808 soloed. And we open this up here. These are the 808s that I used. If I can get it to open up. Jesus, man. Oh, here we go. So, open this up more. One more. So, here we go. Woo! That is a crazy 808 that I did there. But yeah, there it is. This little rise here. That's just a simple, when you go in here and you have a sampler inside of Ableton, you can roll through to the pitch and oscillator, turn on the glide, and set the time to whatever you want, and you can get these things to glide like this. So yeah, just kind of just works like that. Go back to the sample here. So that's how that whole deal kind of works there. Here's this 808. This is a very wide 808. It's just got all my 808 chains have the same, saturator setup and sausage fattener setup, just with little variations here and there. But this is how the whole thing's working. That's what it sounds like. Now, when you play these together, drums, 808, here you go. When that part comes in and that 808 is so much louder because I wanted it to hit. I wanted you to say, when this thing drops, because it's very intense. In the key of F, that 808 is intense. If you have a system or anything, F is going to hit on pretty much anything. It's going to take up a lot of your headroom. So I needed this key of D. When it played that key of D, when it played that D note, I needed that to hit. I needed it to be like, whoa, because you're getting into territory in sub bass where you're feeling it more than you're hearing it. So I had to add a lot of harmonics into that 808, and I just used the saturator to do that. I just used the saturator, sun sausage fattener with a very, very extreme hard curve and some drive in there, and got that going. And that's how we did that. So yeah, we got that going. A lot of harmonics there, and it just comes through really clean. So there's that. Hold up. Very chunky synth section. Goes like this, solo. Wow, my computer's struggling. It sounds like so like bare and like that part right there, but that's because that 808. See, you can't have too many horses in the race. You need to just keep things as simple as you can. And this is just one little pace synth and a screech. So there's a lot of headroom. There's so much space in this mix to add things in, but it's just that. And then I put in that 808. So when you add this 808 in, look at this. See, my computer said no to that. So when you add that in, it turns out like this. And you see, it just takes care of itself for you. Now, if we open this up, this is what we're working with here. This is what we're working with. I'll keep the 808 in here so you can kind of get a feel of what's going on. We've got 3 screeches. All right, let's solo these in here. So we've got pan 25 left and a pan 25 right screech. These are the same screeches, just to give you a little bit more playing with the stereo field here. Somehow it kind of just sounds better to me sometimes when you do this kind of panning trick here with your screeches. So this 25L. So this is actually our sharp screech. Now we add in this, and look how full it sounds now. And then I put the flat screech right in the middle of that whole thing. This is actually a very recent technique that I've started to do, and it just gets the screeches sounding so good. When I stick a screech in the middle, and I'll stick 2 screeches on the side, usually duplicates of each other, and it just creates this whole kind of thing that just doesn't sound bland at all, and it just has so much body to it. Now check it out. So that's the screech. Very basic. I mean, the screech is a simple thing, but it's the way that you use it that kind of brings out. It's that special thing in the song, that special thing that can be in your record, that can just make it just stand out. Because the screech is just, you have to use it, find the best way that your record can accommodate this type of sound, and you just got to go for it. All right, anyway, we've got this serum, this misleading bass patch that we got here. I don't remember any of these patches that I've done or used, so let's see how they sound. Oh, that's pretty dope. This is a cool sound. So I guess I just played that. That's a very cool sound. Very weird, very rhythmy. So this is what I used it here, like this. And, you know, all these, my little channels here have the same kind of chain going on, you know, an overdrive and an EQ8 with a utility. So same stuff here, just different sounds. And here we go. Jeez, this is my CPU, man. It sucks. So that's what that sounds like. And then we paired it with this sound, which is very interesting names, Isaiah. Quasimodo bass patch here. Here we go. Woo, that's tight. So this is what you're like the main kind of thing you're hearing aside with this. So this is our pace synth here. This is our pace synth, and then this is like our body synth. So listen to the pace synth. So yeah, sounds like that, and everything kind of sounds like it's offbeat, but it's not, because the whole thing is offbeat. It's very drunk. So check it out, these two together, all three of these little sounds together. And you see how this body synth, it plays above our pace synth, and the pace synth sits right just above that 808. And the pace and the body synth sits above that. You see, listen. Very nice, very nice. And then this just kind of just added some jelly to, you know, what was going on here with the, you know, little grungy bass. Now, okay, what is this? Okay, so there's two body synths. So this is the two body synths. They're just like layered on top of each other. And that just gave it a little more of a downward slope that we weren't getting originally, and with this Quasimodo. So with the graveyard patch, it kind of added in some very nice. That's what that did there. Now we've got this. What does this sound? Okay, so this is what's playing when that screech hits, along with this. What is this? Okay, so they're two body synths, pace synths rather. These are two pace synths. One a little more robotic and widen out to give you a little space that you're going to hear on the side, and one that you're going to hear that's very sharp dead on the center, which is this one, Old Junk. Sounds like old junk. Then we've got the misleading patch again. So when that plays with these screeches, which are holding sustains, you're going to get this. So then when you throw in that 808, my fucking CPU might destroy itself again. But when you throw in that 808, you get this. All these things are very simple, but it's all about the bigger picture. You know, when you bring all these little things together, it becomes one big thing. And that's what we're going for here. That's what we were going for, and that I believe that's what we got. What does this sound? Oh, this is a tight sound. I thought that was part of the original record. Where is this from? I don't remember making this at all. Let's open up this serum real quick. Get a sneak peek behind this. Probably rocket powered. Yep. Shout out to rocket power sound. This sound is awesome. I don't know. I probably did do some stuff to it because, yep, changed it to the bar. This is my favorite thing right here to mess around with. You want to get basses that sustain, like, you know, in the Fuckboy remix. I can't even think of our songs, but song masters where things are holding these sustains. I'm changing the rate, you know. So instead of it sounding like this, what happened to it? Wow, weird. Now it just sounds like junk. But when we throw that to the bar, it holds itself. You see that? It holds that note. So this is just, you know, pro tip. So all together, this whole thing comes out and it turns into the first drop like so. Let's get it.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
this does the same thing. And then here on the second half where it hits that D note, I took everything out drum wise to let that 808 just hit that sustain where it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It gives you that energy. Look. And then the hi-hats kind of come back in. Whew, man, that thing is amazing. And pretty much the same sounds are on the second drop here. What is this? So then here's the second drop. Let's get a listen to it and see if I'm gonna see if there's anything that I can go through there. So let's listen. Here's the second drop. Here we go.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
So it's just the same thing, just with a different kind of rhythm to it. Same exact sounds, just different syncopations and whatnot. And then this one thing that I can tell you about, the dun 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 dun, which is literally just using the 808 like a synth, basically using it as an instrument. 808 is an instrument. Check it out. You got to play around in the key range. A lot of times people will just keep things with just sustains of your root note for trap music, and you know, kind of. Here, you guys know I like to play with 6s and 7s, 5s and 3s, 9s, and you know, and 11s and whatnot. So, just playing around with stuff here. I'm playing with a 12-11. Or is that? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, I'm playing with a 12-11. Use your 808s as instruments and experiment within your key range to give, you know, depth and groove, more depth and more groove to your songs. Pro tip.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
There's some hard brass in here. Usually for my brass, they're usually samples. About 60% of the time, it's a sample. And then the other 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I suck at math. The other 40% is usually something from Contact. But I do the same things to all of my hard brass. And in this case, it's Cymatics. They have outstanding brass. This is what they sound like here with all my stuff on it. Jesus, they didn't even come through. Come on, Isaiah. What's going on here? Did I even use this? I didn't even use this. This must be off. Okay. Yeah, so I didn't use this because it cluttered up the mix, but that's dope. But I'll run through it anyway. So a hard brass has a utilities, yada yada. I do not like to put somewhere 98-99% of the time I am not side chaining the brass section because it creates good punchiness to a record when it hits with a kick. It sounds really good. Check it out. If this hits on a kick, it does hit on a kick. Look how punchy this is. Look at that. And then when you put that 808 in there, it gets even better. Yeah. Woo. It just hits really nice. So that's the little pro tip behind that.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
This is some really sort of advanced stuff, more advanced stuff here than anything that we've looked at before, because it's a lot of, you know, using your ears. Your ears are your most valuable asset. Using our ears, and we're getting very technical with frequencies, because, you know, when you're working with different artists and vocals, you know, Milano's got a very particular type of voice, you know, Rico Axe got a very particular type of voice, and their voices sound good in different ranges, you know, in different frequency ranges. You want to bring out their strong points, you know what I mean? And then my voice has its particular ranges, and, you know, so everything, voices are a weapon. You got to know how to use that weapon. You got to know how to take that weapon apart and put it back together. So that's the way I kind of look at it. So let's open up. I don't know if I have all the technical stuff still in here because I work where it's like building a car with the vocals. It's like building a car. I take it all apart. I start with nothing. I start with all the parts and I bring it together. See, yeah, everything is froze. So I started in here. So this might have been something that was broken apart in so many different ways, but then I bought it into one whole thing right here. And in between, you see how there's these it's silence. See that? Silence. Well, there's a reverb on here, so it's not going to be a little silent, but these little things represent silence. So, and you see it kind of fades back up. So in between his takes, when he's like, holy moly, and then he takes a breath, holy moly. See that? You don't want to hear that in the track. You want to make them sound spectacular. So, you know, I cut out some of the things, faded in, faded out, different parts, and it comes in to create a very clean, one-shotted thing like so.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates. All the hell I raise, it's inevitable that hell awaits.
And that's just his main body. Now, when you add in his doubles and whatnot, which I panned his doubles and gave him, I panned his doubles and put them in mono. Anything that is supporting your main lead, stick in mono for vocals. That's just my little, that's my take on it. And then play with your stereo width on your main vocal here. But throw these things in the mono and pan them to the sides. It's gonna, it's very good technique that has worked for me very well. So take a listen.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
You see that? They put emphasis. Milano puts emphasis on there, but this is more of getting into if I was a vocalist, this is things that I would do. But just listen to it, and you can see kind of what I did using this panning technique, and it just kind of adds emphasis to different things that he's saying.
Go in at heaven's gates, all the hell I raise, it's inevitable that hell awaits. 2 phones, devil on both. This ain't no Kevin Gates.
So very simple stuff. Then you've got his ad libs here, and I got everything organized. You got Milano's ad libs, his mains, and V1, which is just vocal group 1, mains, ads. So here is mains, here is ads, and each one has, you see I cut out these harsh frequencies here, brought down on the sheen a little bit, gave him some body here, cut down on this harsh, tonalities here, gave it a really harsh 100 hertz cut. See, it's just, things that you're sitting here listening to over and over again, and, listening, and then you're coming up with these things. Do a little OTT on here. Says a little OTT here. Does this have a little OTT? Yeah, 12% OTT, some ballad reverb to give it a little wetness so it's not so dry, some delays, some disharmonics, just a bunch of different things. But overall, I was playing with RVox, which is, Waves Audio, sort of Renaissance Vox VST here, which is just a vocal, rider thing, compressor. And I used it to raise the volume. I like using this better than I would have a utility, because it has, a limiter and a compressor in there. So it's going to, attenuate this vocal and get it up to the levels that I need it to have. And then JJP vocals. I use JJP vocals, Jack Joseph Puig. And this is just something that I can, it's got all these different parameters made, magic, space, attack, attitude, presence, and master. And you kind of just dial in these specific things, and it just creates magic on the track, on the vocal tracking here, and gets it to sound really crisp, really nice, and full. So that's what I did there. But that's the basics. I wanted to at least show you some basics of what I was getting into here. And we can, if you guys want, just drop a comment below, and we can talk about that, how, some more in depth. And I can actually even probably get Milano to send in some vocals, and we can work on it live here, and kind of go through what my process would be working with Milano, which I have a whole process for him. I've worked with him countless times, but that's what I did with Milano there. If we go in, where's the Bvrzz intro? So on my intro, we're playing off of each other. We just got different notes playing off of each other.
Lit Lord, should we change the game again?
And then right here, I'm just, making it sound like we're in the same room. We didn't do this in the same room. We did this over, like over a FaceTime call, and he had the reference track, I had the reference track, and we were sitting there going off of each other. You know what I'm saying? Simple.
The game's not gonna take this one lightly.
And then when we play it together,
Lit Lord, should we change the game again? Real shit. The game's not gonna take this one lightly. But do it for the culture. One take. You good? Why not? Why not?
Check the name.
Check the name, then you know it's lit.
Oh no! It's crazy, man. Like that's magic, man. That's magic. My part here on the break, where I came in, and check it out. This is my part here where I did my verse.
Real shit.
Oh no! Get with the bag, I'm flipping it quick, I'm loading the mag, and sit on my hip, I'm cupping the tag, I walk with the drip, she play with the keys and get in the whip, I'm chasing the bag, I'm chasing the bag, I'm chasing the bag, I'm chasing the bag.
So that's what we had there. That was my verse right there. Very heavy EQ and very, very surgical EQ, and a little more OTT on my voice here. My main body here, and it's my main body.
Get with the bag, I'm flipping it quick, I'm loading the mag, and sit on my hip.
So it's got some very heavy reverb over this whole chain, ballad reverb, 17%. My vocal pans, obviously they're in mono, I'm using the same technique, but they're a little more tighter in here. At 24L, 24R, sounds like this now.
Get with the bag, I'm flipping it quick, I'm loading the mag, and sit on my hip.
Now check it out, the soloed.
Bag and flipping it quick. Mag and sit on my hip. What with the drip?
Now we play with this. What is this here? 39. Oh, so we've got a lot of pans. So it was something in the middle, you know, something in the middle, then two things on the side, and then two more things on the wider side. So it becomes this whole kind of thing that's very full. Let's check this out.
Quick, mag, hip, tag, drip.
And you can hear that kind of auto tune on my ads here.
Quick, mag, hip, tag, drip, keys, whip, chasing the bag.
So that's what that sounds like, and the whole thing all together comes out like this.
Get with the bag, I'm flipping it quick, I'm loading the mag and sit on my hip, I'm cupping the tag, I walk with the drip, she play with the keys and get in the whip, I'm chasing the bag, I'm chasing the bag, I'm chasing the bag, I'm chasing the bag, I'm chasing the bag.
Milano when the Lord's gonna give it to you. Holy moly, I'm the coldest in the fucking game. Ice water flowing till it's frozen in my fucking veins.
It's magic, man. But, you know, that's Holy Moly. We're not going to go into any more of these little small details here on the vocal.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
My master chain on this track is very simple. It's a Bvrzz Master EQ Boom, which is a template that I created here, and then I go in and attenuate it, you know, accordingly, specific to the track, whatever. You know, it got some Endless Smile, but this Endless Smile is specifically used for build-ups. It's just on the master chain because I want it to affect everything. And I used No Limit for some of these build-ups here. Glue compressor, 23%, you know, they're the parameters for that. Just something to kind of bring everything together, keep it together so everything kind of sounds as one, a little better. And then I bring everything down on the master volume, 2 decibels. 2 decibels if I'm like, all right, this shit is kind of loud, you know. I'll bring it down 2 decibels if I'm like, you know, this shit is kind of loud and it needs to be turned down a little bit. If I'm really feeling good about this track and it's loud, and when I'm hearing it on the sub pack and all my other references, I'm like, you know, this can work. I'll go 1. I'll bring it down 1. It's never going to stay at 0. I'll bring it down 1, and I'm like, I'm feeling really good. I feel really good about this track. This is rare. Like, this is rare. I'm a paranoid person.
Holy moly, my soul ain't going to heaven's gates.
That's Holy Moly. Hope you guys had a good time watching this. It's a bit of a longer little thing going on with this one. Hope you guys enjoy the new setup that I'm doing the walkthroughs and tutorials with. And that's all I got for you guys today. If there's anything that I missed or you would like to have covered, please leave a comment in the comment section below. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We're ramping up over here. Stick with us. Fire Squad forever. See you guys next time. Peace.
Holy moly, I'm the coldest in the fucking game. Ice water flowing till it's frozen in my fucking veins. Up the grade on the scope, just trying to up the range. Up the gauge up close, ain't got